Y'all motherfuckers thought Finish or Fail was over? You thought I canceled this shit? I started Finish or Fail in 2008. 2008! This shit ain't going nowhere. I have almost 10 years of Finish or Fail. Now, for those who don't know, the original purpose of Finish or Fail was to finish off my on-hold list, my insanely long on-hold list. The original Finish or Fail was I slimmed it down to 100 shows. And the idea was to try and go through them all systematically. It didn't work, because I only got through like 20 in 2 years. But, then I decided, what if I also use the same name for when I'm watching all the shows in a new year? Because essentially, every anime is on my on-hold list. You know, the ones that are actually listed are the ones I've already given a chance and decided to finish. But every show is on hold. It's just not listed on Mal until I've tried it, you know? And I mean, there's some shows that'll never be listed because I dropped it in 5 minutes and I didn't mark it. But in any case, Finish or Fail ain't going nowhere. I've just been busy, you know? I don't always have time for new shit. You gotta worry about old shit. Look at this fucking Metroid poster all falling over. That's sad. Let's switch to a better Metroid poster that's not falling over. So anyways, 2017 anime. There's a new season about to start, like, in a day or so. Well, it'll already have started by the time this video comes out. So, you know, now that there's new anime coming out, I can watch old anime. Because I don't give a fuck about what's relevant. I don't care. Relevancy bores me. I don't want to watch relevant shows. Why do I care about what's popular now? I want to know what survives. What stands the test of time. You know, I play the long game with anime. I don't care about what's airing right now. I don't care about what people are talking about right now. I want to know, what am I going to still be thinking about in 5 years? Because, you know, if I'm only thinking about it for a couple months, what was the point? I didn't carry that with me. That didn't give me anything in the long run. I don't know why I think this way. It's weird. Anyway, I've gone ahead and made this two-sided Finish or Fail list. It's on paper now. Which is divided into 2 categories. Stuff I'm going to watch with May, and stuff I'm going to watch by myself. Because the last Finish or Fail videos we did together, and I know there's a lot of shows she wants to see, but also, she ain't got all the time in the world to be watching everything. So I'm going to watch a whole lot of this shit by myself, and to be perfectly honest, this list is basically divided between anime that look like shit and anime that actually look okay. So if you're watching an episode of this show that's just me, I'm probably just going to be going through a bunch of anime that looks like shit. I've got 42 listed for me to watch by myself. I'm going to go over there and hit up the randomizer, see what we get. 32. That is Netsuzo Trap. I've heard this is supposed to be garbage. So let's see if I can even finish the first episode. This shit is completely mind-numbing. It's just like, every shot is boring. The character designs look like shit. It's like trashy. And everyone's obnoxious. All their personalities are super obnoxious. Like, I'm not even... This episode's only 9 minutes long. I'm not even halfway through, and I'm already just like... No. I mean, I knew this would be bad. This show has, like, a less than 6 on Mal, which is a very bad sign. But, like, just look at it. It's just so... It's just a nothing. There's nothing. Like, right now, there's literally nothing, as far as I can see, because I'm wearing sunglasses and it's dark. Okay, let's try that again. Number 9. That will be Schoolgirl Strikers, I believe. I don't know what that is. Let's give it a look. You know, a lot of people have the stance that you should separately consider, like, works that are trying to be art and works that are trying to be, like, disposable entertainment. You should judge them on how well they do what they're setting out to do. But I don't know if I can be the judge of what is good, disposable entertainment. Like, if what I want from it is to be art, if I just categorically don't want random, disposable entertainment, then I am not the critic who can judge the quality of such. Like, this show, I'm looking at it, I see no reason to believe that this is not perfectly fine, disposable entertainment, but that is inherently shitty to me. Like, I don't want to watch something that will have no lasting impact on me whatsoever. So, like, sometimes I do like to chill out and just watch a show, but I can rewatch a favorite. Or I can at least go to shows that are, like, in a genre and wheelhouse. Like, there's some genres I'm more prone to watching non-artistic works in. Like, or not non-artistic, but you know what I mean. Like, stuff that's not trying to be, like, a dense message you're meant to take with you for all time. Like, does this seem like something anyone's gonna think about after it's over to you? Like, the show's called Schoolgirl Strikers. It's about schoolgirls who also, they're transforming heroes. They fight, like, the big titty ladies there, Like, I got Lucky Star back there, I have thoughts about Lucky Star. It's a show I return to because, like, there's something more personal to it. Who is this for? Who will have a deep appreciation of this? It's just meant to pass through you. It passes through you. Okay, let's see what happens now. 2, that's Fuka, or I don't know if Fuka was just part of the name. I wrote down, aside from how bad my handwriting is, I wrote like partial names. It would have been towards the top of the first, towards up here. There we go. Okay, it's just called Fuka. It doesn't look good, but we'll see. A team of people, a team of very passionate people animated that show for nothing, for probably no money. They went and put together, a whole team of people put an expensive effort, an expense of their time into animating that show. And for what? For what? Why did they do that? Why did they animate that? Why does this keep happening? This show, I can tell instantly that no one cares about it. It's like a show with, again, relatively low MAL score. I'll bet it's got no Blu-ray sales. I don't know what the source material is. I don't care. The show looks like shit. The first shot is just some generic protagonist guy looking at his cell phone, walking around Tokyo like, I'm a dude. I'm an anime guy. I'm every anime guy. Why is this happening? Why is this allowed? I don't know why this is allowed. Ordinarily, I'd be the type to just put distance between myself and that. Like, I just look at it and go, well, this isn't right. This isn't how it should be. But I'm just going to go fuck off and look at the shows that are good, the shows that actually say something, and I'll just go and be in my own world with those. But someone should do something about this. Someone should do something about this. Like, there shouldn't be 49 new shows every season, and, like, 60% of them be not just garbage, but, like, everyone knows it's garbage. Like, no one needs this. No one asked for it. Nobody wants it, now that it's here. So why does it exist? Even if this show, even if it eked out, like, a meager profit, like, if a few people tuned in and went, it was alright, and maybe a few people bought a Blu-ray, like, was it worth it? Was it worth wasting everyone's time? How many people's time was wasted? This show's on Crunchyroll. How many people who wasted their time translating it? Who wasted their time uploading it? Who wasted their time doing any of this shit? How much human life has been dedicated to shitty anime? especially in like the past 5 years, where it's gotten crazy. It's gotten out of control how much of it's coming out. And this is why, see, I've been talking to this group called the Flying Colors Foundation, who is these 3 Korean guys who I met at Crunchyroll Expo, who are trying to change this. Like, they're putting an effort into trying to change the business practices of the industry and to basically make people stop doing this. And I was excited when I heard them talk about their project. But when I watch a show like this is where it, like, sinks in, that I'm looking at it and going, like, how could the industry have gotten to this point? Like, this is so obvious. Like, it's something you look at and you go, how is nobody thinking about it? How is nobody taking a step back and asking themselves, are we really doing this? Does this make sense? Is this good business practice? Is this good for the consumer? Is this good for the people making the show? Is this good for anyone? Who is benefiting from the existence of Fuka? Or Schoolgirl Strikers? Or whatever the fuck, Netsuzo Trap? Who is benefiting the existence of these shows? No one! The people making it wasted their time. No one who's watching it wants to be watching it. And it won't make anybody any money. Like, it just speaks to a fundamental break, like a brokenness in the system, that this keeps happening. Like, that there's so much of it. So much of it. Like, why is there so much? Why are they not taking their time to craft a decent show that people will want to buy? You know, instead of everyone's constantly overworked and underpaid to crank out products nobody wants year-round, why is it not people taking less time and getting paid decently to make something good that people will want? You know, like, that seems obviously more profitable to me and less insane and like a livable situation for humans, you know? So I don't even care if that show's not that bad. Like, I couldn't tell. I watched like 2 minutes and it was a bunch of generic character designs. A girl ran into a guy and her panties were on screen. And I went, it's just, here we are. Welcome to the anime industry, 2017, you know? And there are great shows being made right now. I know that for a fact. There are great shows coming out. But we cannot let that, like, paint the picture the wrong way. You know, I feel like people will look at this and go, but Digibro, this is a great year. Look at how many great shows are coming out. Even I've made that argument. I've made the argument, like, you know, like the same percentage of good shows are coming out as ever, or just as many good shows at least are coming out as ever, so what's the big deal? But like, when I think about all the effort and time wasted on these shows, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad to realize that this talent and passion could be reallocated to something meaningful, or just, you know, not dumped into the landfill of shit anime. Yeah, let's go watch another one. Not even joking, I came back in the room and it was him seeing her panties again. I mean, that was just incidental. I literally just walked in after filming the previous clip, and it was exactly the same thing, which I'd just been complaining about in the other room. Everything's fucked up. All my shit is out of order. Where's the mouse? I'm still wearing sunglasses. I can't see anything. Where the fuck is the mouse? There we go. Okay. Number 7, L Dive. Let's see what L Dive is. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Let's do another one. 39, that would be Altair something Altair. Okay, so I ended up giving this show a lot more of a chance, mostly because I was so blown away by the mere fact that it has, like, recognizable character designs, like it didn't look like a pile of complete dog shit like the other 4 shows that I just looked at. So I watched about 9 minutes of it. And I was just kind of left with that unshakable sense of, oh, is this what Mappa's doing now? Like, is this how Mappa's paying the bills now? It's a manga adaptation set in, like, I guess the Middle East, or they keep saying Turkey, but it's spelled differently. I don't know if that's how Turkey is spelled in Turkey or something. Which I think is considered part of them. They definitely dress in, like, Middle Eastern attire. And it's about some kid who's, like, the youngest guy to ever get some, important military rank. And it's obviously going to be, like, sort of a military show. But, like, the main character's completely boring. He's like a child genius, sexless to an absurd degree. Because the whole first half of this episode is just this insanely hot chick, this dancer girl, like, trying to ride his cock and him denying her at every turn. And I would be okay with that if the idea is that he's, like, gay or asexual or something, but it's presenting it as, like, that he's, like, just young. Like, he's just, oh, I'm too studious and stuck up to be with women, like, he obviously is attracted to her, but won't do anything. And, I mean, that's fine. That's not an unrealistic character, I guess. But, I mean, I just think he's really boring, and I can't relate. So, I was struck by how boring, and the feeling of the show is very dry. There's not much character in the directing or storyboards. Like, it's just a bunch of, like, flat panel shots. This is a manga adaptation, and it feels like it's probably very direct. Like, it feels like I'm looking at moving manga, which is a real shame coming from Studio Mappa, who can do much better with a manga adaptation. I know that. Even something that's a little bit more direct, like when they did, what the fuck was the one where the guy, Ushio and Tora, like, that one was a pretty straightforward manga adaptation, but at least they put a lot of spice onto the animation. This one has nothing. It just feels like a flat line. And I can already tell I'm not that interested, and I just feel like if this is a good story, it will be better in manga. Because there's just the visuals are not impressive, the music is not impressive, the way that scenes flow into each other just feels dry. There's a part where what kind of made me stop was the main character, it's like it cuts to morning and there's like a robber and someone's like, oh, thief. And so we see this dude running with a knife and like a sack over his shoulder, and then main character guy like steps out from the shadows and is like, you should stop right there. This is the end of the line. And the guy's like, ugh, kid, don't try to play cop with me. And the kid's like, I'm giving you a warning. If I'll let you go if you give up. And the guy's like, blah, blah. And he comes running at him with the knife. And so this music starts like, getting tense, like there's about to be a big beatdown. And all that happens is he like dodges backwards, and then his eagle, he has like this eagle that he has on his shoulder, and the eagle just jumps up and literally just grabs this dude's arms with his talons and flies off. And then we just see like a shot of the dude's arm like hideously broken from one little grab with the talons, and he falls over, and the music just like cha-cha-cha-cha, like the end of the dramatic tension scene. And I was like, oh, that was it? You got the music all hyped up for an action scene, and it's just like the eagle just flies over, grabs the dude, and flies back, and he's done. Like, okay, it was a chance for some spark of life in this, but it has passed. So, yeah, I don't know. If this is a good story, it's probably better to read the manga. The only thing I liked about this is that the character designs are at least distinctive, and that will be true of the original as well. 14. That looks like that Zero Kara whatever. The show that has the title that is almost the exact same title as ReZero. That's the one we're watching. Unbeknownst to me, Zero Kara Hajimeru whatever is a furry anime. But it's not terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible. This show is the epitome of doing just enough to be like a show. Like, the design work is competent, The animation and directing are competent. The music is competent. Nothing stands out. Nothing special. The writing is just very standard. But, like, this is definitely a show for, like, 12-year-olds. And if I were myself at age 12, I think I would like this show. It's got a really big, like, cool animal guy who's, like, this gigantic badass who beats people up. So there's action scenes, there's a cute little witch girl who he's teamed up with, and they're gonna go on an adventure. Like, it's kind of, when I think of it from, like, my primal 12-year-old brain, I think, what's not to like about that? You know, what's not to like about a big, cool guy beating people up and traveling with a cute little witch girl in a world of fantasy and magic? But as an adult, I'm thinking about how the opening scene shows a witch trial where they're burning 3 witches at the stake, but in this world, there just are witches. Like, the only reason to bring witch trials into a show, the iconography is meant to be like a metaphor or at least a commentary on the way that the whole point of the witch trials is that there were no witches. There never were witches. It was just like a population control propaganda thing, or just like mysticism by a bunch of idiots, like a way to kill outsiders or people you don't like, you know? Like, that's the drama behind witch trials. If you have a world where there just are witches and they're being burned at the stake, like, and you open the show on that like it's a dramatic scene, it's like, well, that's just how this world is. Like, there actually are witches who are doing bad things and getting burned at the stake. But you know, that kind of lack of nuance doesn't bother you when you're 12. Like, you know, it's easy for me to imagine having bought the first DVD of this as a kid and then selling it like 3 years later. But as an adult, I'm watching this thinking, like, there's no reason whatsoever to watch this because it's a dime a dozen action fantasy series, of which I can literally name a dozen that are better off the top of my head. So, yeah, why bother? Alright, what's up next? 39, did we get that already? We got that already. 10, that would be Bikes. I have just written Bikes. I think it was a biking show with a really long title, so I just wrote Bikes. This one right here, this appears to be Bikes. Look, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with this show. It's not really my kind of thing, though. I will say, so this is the biking anime with the super long title. And it's definitely a hell of a lot prettier looking than the biking anime that I tried to watch at the end of last year, which I criticized heavily for its animation quality and just kind of being very run-of-the-mill sports anime du jour, but with like a pretty uninteresting cast. This one's not really a sports show, so far at least. It's definitely an Iyashikei show. Like, it's ultra slow-paced, focused on legitimately beautiful background art, and I really like the character designs, like, especially this girl. They've got a kind of classic, almost 80s style look to them. Reminds me a bit of, like, Code E, or, the overall tone of the show kind of reminds me of Taisho Yaku Musume. But, like, it's just a little too saccharine for me. The beginning of the show, the main character girl, who's a high schooler, has forgotten how to ride a bicycle to such an extent that she forgets that you have to push your feet on the pedals. And there's, like, a legitimately treated as, like, almost emotional scene of her, like, figuring it out again with this other girl. It's just a bit too much. It's a little too much. And I think I figured out through this show how to put words to a problem I have with a lot of cute girls doing cute things anime that I don't care for, and especially Iyashikei style shows, which is these characters feel like they don't even have negative thoughts in their minds. Like, these characters are so overly sentimental and saccharine that, like, they only feel positive thoughts. Like, they only... Everything they do is fun and or emotional. Like, everything is a bonding moment, you know, everything's beautiful in their world. And I think that's what the Iyashikei is, like that soothing feeling. But to me, it just feels like unnatural and disconnected, you know? I'm going to keep pointing to this Lucky Star poster that happens to be behind me because, like, it's a cute girls doing cute things show that I love, and the characters are all very sarcastic and self-aware, and, like, you know, they're not just, like completely in a world of sugar, you know, so to speak. Even shows that are extremely cutesy. Like, I love the cutesy aesthetic. I love the aesthetic of this show. It looks beautiful. The animation's really good. It's kind of astounding that the amount of effort was put into this show that was, or talent. I'm gonna start replacing the word effort with talent since people get mad when you say effort in the anime industry because obviously everyone is putting in a lot of effort in terms of like physical effort. I think I used the word effort in a more philosophical way, but talent was poured into this show. But the script is just very like fluffy and not much going on, and you know, the characters are difficult for me to connect with and to feel anything towards. I definitely felt myself lulling out of consciousness while watching this. Also, it weirdly feels like it may have been partially funded by like a travel company or something, because it takes place in a real city and it's going like above and beyond to show off how gorgeous this place looks. And there's a part where like they see Mount Fuji in the distance and the one girl who lives there is like rattling off all these facts about the town, and I was like, this suspiciously feels like trying to get otaku to travel to this place. Incidentally, this is a JC staff show, so it definitely falls in line with the Iyashikei shows they were doing last year, Amatsuki and Flying Witch. I think this is even better looking. This is probably one of the best looking JC staff shows I've ever seen. It's let me show you these fucking backgrounds, because I've freezed this on like on a girl's face, but like the background art is something to behold. All of it's just like, well, the camera's not going to pick it up very well, but like it's this insanely verdant. I love the color palette, and there's like sakura petals falling at all times everywhere. The characters look really nice, but like again, like there's no pulse in this show. There's nothing that makes me like, oh, I have been gripped, like I care about these characters and want to see them succeed, or like the goals of the characters. Like the main girl's just kind of trying to fit in at her new school. She's just like, I hope I'll make friends, you know, and she's sitting here at this ceremony just like, yeah, hope I'll make friends, and like I guess she's gonna join a bike club. You know, I know where this is going, and if I did want like this kind of show, I think this would be a good option. I'm generally not a fan of Yashikei, as I've talked about many times. Those shows just tend to put me to sleep. You know, I like cute girls doing cute things, but I prefer comedic ones, or ones where at least I can get into the characters' heads a little better. You know, when I can't imagine a character actually existing in the real world, it's a little bit harder for me. And like, you might say, well, you know, the K-On! Characters are unrealistic. Sure, they're not like real people, but within the context of their world, there's a lot of verisimilitude. Like, I can imagine how these characters, none of them are impossible. Like, grouping all 5 of them into one place might be highly unlikely, but like, they act enough like real people that I can get into their heads and like understand their motivations on a scene by scene basis. With characters like this, it's just a pretty face saying pretty things in a pretty location, you know? So anyway, that's it for this episode of Finish or Fail. I realized that there's going to be a lot of this show. It's just going to be me dropping everything I watch because I feel like I've reached a fever pitch of elitism. And granted, I still think this is a decent year for anime because there have been like more than one show I've considered great this year. But you know, so far, I mean, we got to work our way through the broad swath of bullshit before we're gonna get to the good stuff. I'm gonna release one of these every 3 days. No, it cannot be faster because eventually I'm probably gonna finish one of these shows, and that might take more than a day. So 3 days is the most leeway I think I can get away with, and I'm starting early. I'm filming this in September, so yeah. See you then. See you in 3 days with the light version of this show where I go with May and we watch shows we actually have any desire to watch. See you then.